All right, I mean, it's okay to step back and reset because we have game 2 coming at you. Picks and bans already ready. eXcellence dropped 1 game to Rival already, but just clear heads. Clear heads, back off, come at them with a new game plan.
So, numero uno, right off the bat, if I'm eXcellence, I don't think... I mean, the problem here was that none of the picks from the picks and bans really got... The game didn't go late enough to see the impact that they could have made. If I have to, absolutely have to identify something, it's the Xing Chen. I want to make sure that the solo lane, the solo jungle combination I get really can't be messed with in the jungle. Obviously, we didn't see the initial invade, but round 2 and round 3 we saw the invade. So, I mean... change the Xing Chen to something, obviously Robin was banned last time, but maybe something more aggressive.
Well, speaking of bans, Nemesis, Kwang, Freya, and Sol will not be seen today, which means Terra and Fafnir are both available and will both be the first picks.
Makes sense. These 2 characters really alter the state of the game. Supports in general can do that pretty hard. Terra has a lot of control, and her global ultimate really helps players get out of jail. And if there was a Terra on the battlefield last time around, we might have seen some help.
Yeah, we would have seen something a lot different. Terra brings a lot of sustain and control when it comes to that lane. But Raijin picked up for Rival, and Ratatoskr and Vulcan picked up for eXcellence.
I like these picks. I do. I really do. If I'm Rival in the second round, I ban out the Jingwei. I personally think I think the Terra Jingwei lane is too much. I think it's just too much.
There's another Fenrir on the board, but I think it's smart. Team Rival banned out the Ratatoskr, one of their comfort picks early on, able to pick it back up. So this is the 3rd game we're going to be able to see that. But Neith and Robin banned out, as well as Kronos, which, I mean, Robin's pretty comfortable for Gnome, but he's got something else up his sleeve, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, Rival is looking to ban out the Robin. Because they don't want, and I was just going to say, bring the Sun Wukong, Fenrir Sun Wukong. Rival just won a game in 10 minutes and 7 seconds because they were able to be big bullies in the early game. So don't come into this next game boasting Nemesis, Freya, Kronos. You just won in 10 minutes. Keep the early game pressure on. Go the Fenrir Sun Wukong, Anhur even so, and just do exactly what you did last time. Don't be surprised if you see Rival try to invade right away, even against the Vamana Ratatoskr. All right, that's pushing it, but still, same game plan, heavy early game aggression.
Yep, so they're going to bring their own bruiser of their own, Vamana. We haven't seen him played often at all, but very nice coming out. But standard starts, nobody looking too crazy, and it looks like Fly is going to be back in the mid lane today. We're not going to see Hysteria. Fly is able to make it back.
And like I said, I mean, the last game didn't even go late enough for you to really point fingers.
No.
There wasn't an issue. That's a team issue. That's where you just go, look, nothing worked out, just forget about it and continue on. And that's a situation where, you know, you can't really point fingers, but of course you want your starters being played. So Fly comes right back in.
I'm excited to see Rapio on this Fenrir. I am sure we are going to see as much aggression, throwing his weight around as possible, coming out from all of Rival.
Well, there's Rapio picking up those right-hand harpies right quick. Not really too much of an issue. Him and Watson running in tandem, looking for just more aggression, honestly.
eXcellence were able to pick up those fire imps, but the left side mid harpies are still available, so Team Rival might be able to just turn around this corner and start those before eXcellence can even rotate.
It's possible, and here they are. Yeah, Rival gonna go ahead and just take them out, no problem.
No problem at all. Now, I asked this last, oh, hold on 1 second. Predators wants to try and get something early on, but Gnome has just as much opportunity with the cudgel, popping a couple of potions, trying to heal back up. That's gonna be a close line.
It'll be in the early game, basically until they hit level 5. Both of them have a reset button. Once they hit level 5, like I said, you got the extra life out of the Sun Wukong and the big babby out of the Vamana, so no big deal right there.
Good stun coming out. Farleez is going to be incapacitated for a moment, but no big deal coming out from there just yet. My question to you is, we see a little bit of defense coming out from Raijin. Why don't we see any coming out early on from the Vulcan?
Just different game plans. Vulcan's going to build into the Doomore, most likely. We've seen that going on. And the Raijin has built into the defense, like you said. Just different styles, different game plans. Raijin is less likely to see the Ratatoskr jump in from the ultimate. With the Fenrir, it's a little bit more telegraphed, so you can make game plans for that. You can interrupt some of the nonsense out of the Brutalize with the Meatball, so you can deal with that a little bit better. And that said, if you ask me, I think the Raijin is a safer character. It's just playstyle at that point, Tiger. Tiger. Raijin, Watson wants to build a little bit tankier on the Raijin.
Rapio back in the mid lane with Watson. These two, I think, are probably some of the best mid and jungle we have in the SCR right now. Their synergy is on point almost every single game.
Rapio and Watson?
Yes.
Yeah, they're certainly looking strong, and that's very, I don't want to say surprising, it's pleasantly surprising, if you will, seeing Watson so new to the role. Formerly a solo laner, a console native playing solo lane specifically, and now switching over to the mid lane to make himself work in this rival squad. Like I said, Team Rival really shaping out to be the perennial team out of Europe.
And it's really nice to see, but sustain for days coming out from Turtle with that monolith. Even if you pop it, you're still going to be able to get that damage coming out, so no real need for the healing just yet. That's going to be a lot bigger in those big team fights and big objectives.
Not a lot of the same aggression we're seeing out of eXcellence. This is the first round of buffs that would have spawned, and we don't have we do have the Wrath on the Fenrir this time around as well. So Rival, if they want to make a play for the blue buff now, would be the time, but we're just not seeing it. So a slight deviation from the previous game's plans, despite the success that Rival had.
I mean, instead, we're just going to be able to see them take their own buffs, make sure that eXcellence don't get any funny ideas, aren't able to glean any of that experience off. It's a slow. I think it's going to be more of a slow burn game for Rival until they get a feel for how like eXcellence are going to be in a big team fight. We never saw that last game.
We'll see. It can't be too slow of a burn though, because honestly, just looking at the compositions, nobody late game on the side of Team Rival, with the exception of the mid mage Raijin. And you take a look across the way at eXcellence, Jing is going to scale better than the Anhur until the late game. You got a Vulcan, which is always hot, and then the Terra works out pretty well, just like the Fafnir. But Anhur, Fenrir, Wukong, these aren't late game dominant forces. So Rival do want to win this game earlier than later, but eXcellence will be able to kind of show up towards the mid to late game.
I mean, Rival haven't had the opportunity to taste blood yet. We didn't see a huge team fight coming out from last game. eXcellence haven't really shown much aggression this game. We're about 4 minutes and 40 seconds in, and it's only about 1K ahead coming out from Rival, if that.
Yeah, just a very small. You got about 700 cold, which is actually rather impressive, to be honest with you, because that's, again, without many objectives. Not even first blood taken yet as we approach 5. Team Rival just able to get this 800 gold lead off of pure farm.
Yeah, but Rapio taking a little bit of damage from Maloaise, and now Predator's trying to chase through, gonna find the Ragnarok, pull him into the tower, and that's gonna be an immediate kill. But now Maloaise trying to find Rapio, is gonna be able to find the knockup, but now he's gonna have to worry about Gnome.
Yeah, Gnome's gonna clean that one up as well. First blood going the way of Team Rival, which is the important one, and then the follow-up kill going to Gnome. Ratatoskr getting very aggressive there. So 2 for 1. Team Rival leading by over 1,000 gold, and again, a slow snowball begins.
Do you know if Maloaise saw Gnome behind Rapio? They weren't necessarily right side by side each other. They were turning around. But why would you go in 1v2?
Frustration? It's very easy for us to sit up at the desk and say, well, they surrendered in 10 minutes, quarterback memory, they're going to forget about it ahead of the game 2, Tiger. It's very easy to do that. But it's a lot harder to actually pull that off. And at the end of the day, after you get beat like you just did, and you're still down again, you've got this desire, almost this need to make a play. And that mental game, that momentum, it's very real. Ratatoskr just trying to get on the board, help his team see something. Sometimes all you need to see is proof that your enemy can bleed. Once you're able to get on the board, you're able to change it.
As a player, how do you come back from that? I mean, we saw, as you mentioned, that 10-minute surrender. How do you come back and get back in the game and perform at your best?
Honestly, it's all about just sort of wiping the memory. I don't have much experience as a player, but I have much experience as a performer, and everybody in chat can agree. Sometimes you screw up. I've done it. And what you have to do is you just walk off in my case, you walk off the desk, maybe get a drink of water and just go, all right, boys, we got 2 minutes until the next game. Let's just think about what happened and then never think about it again. Forget about it. Get into your Zen moment and just sort of move on. There really is no actual button to switch. There is no quick fix for that type of situation. You've just got to be able to have it, and hopefully you've got a team that supports you.
Rival may be able to find their quick switch to the win here if they keep up this momentum. They're looking for the Gold Fury, but it is still going to go to Team Rival. Turtle trying to come in and steal it, but it's not going to be enough.
There's a Wrath on the side of Team Rival. No Wrath on the side of eXcellence either, and without Vulcan being a high level, that's going to go to Rival every time.
Ragnarok not going to be able to find it, but here comes the Vulcan ultimate, and Maloaise crashing down. Two-man knock up. Watson taking quite a bit of damage, but Maloaise going to get turned on. Rapio, credit for the kill. eXcellence tried to get aggressive, and instead it bit them.
Team fight looked a little bit disjointed to me there, Tiger. You saw down come the Ratatoskr. He gets a decent knock-up on at least one player. No follow-up coming out from the mage. No follow-up coming out from the support either. All of a sudden, Ratatoskr is just kind of like left out there on an island by himself. No help from Terra. That's really a big problem. And just rough play in the mid lane.
Rival rotating over. Farleez is going to get pinched between three if he's not careful, because here comes Watson as well. Going to find the Raijin and the Thunder Crash, but no ultimates to follow up except for Farleez, who will be able to glide to safety.
Here's eXcellence's response, and this could be a great play for the blue squad. Nice play coming out of the Terra. Going to separate the team for once, but Atonement barely to get out of there.
Getting out by the skin of his teeth. Turtle might have had an opportunity to go, but Rapio definitely having one, finding predators, even though he was trying to force out the big baby. And now Watson getting aggressed on from behind. Thunder Crash is gone, and Zenborne now here to peel, but not really needed.
Yep, just showing up, being the protective force that he needs to be. But why don't we talk about that Fenrir just brutalizing down Vamana?
I mean, it doesn't matter what. I mean, with Vamana, even if you're dashing, that brutalize is still going to stick to you. No matter what you do, you can't escape that damage unless you get away from him somehow. And Turtle might not be able to get away from this. Everything's coming out from all sides. Atonement trying to jump forward, but Zenborne going to find credit, even with the Terra trying to sustain up. And she even popped her ultimate.
Beautiful play right there coming out from the dual lane. You see the Pillar and Pale come out from the Anhur, and then the body block from Zenborne right next door.
Coming in, trying to find the stun onto Maloaise will, but his team wasn't there quite yet to go ahead and unleash everything. Instead, Maloaise going to be sitting at about half HP.
Look at Rapio right now, 3-1-1. Farleez under duress at the moment.
I mean, this is what you want your Fenrir to be. He's 2 levels above Ratatoskr right now, even though Rat has that global ultimate to go ahead and pick himself up and go wherever he wants.
10 seconds. Do we see another one?
Maybe.
I'm thinking if so like I said, game one, 10-minute surrender, I don't have too much of an issue with. That's just, forget about it, move on to game 2. Game 2 is the end of the set. This is just as drastic as it was last time, but I would like to see the scene played out this time around.
See, we're 10 minutes in, 15 seconds, longer than the first game, 1-6. There's a 5-kill deficit and only maybe about 3-4K difference between the two, but
That's
Rapio
huge.
wants to go ahead and try to make it a little bit higher. He's waiting on the wings, and he does have his ultimate.
Rapio has more farm than the enemy solo lane by over 1,000. I don't know how else to explain that one, folks. Mr. Turtle gonna just get completely annihilated. Needs a new shell, and lucky number 7 for Team Rival on the board.
That they invested a lot to get that, but they haven't I mean, it's not necessarily at a loss. eXcellence haven't been aggressive. They haven't really been putting themselves out too much, but Rival, I mean, every little bit counts. It's a slow burn. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
There's nothing slow about this one. I mean, they're up 4,000 gold at 11 minutes. This is very, very quick. 4 players going to surround in the solo lane. Rapio able to force the big babby out of Vamana, and still Rival looking to damage through the ultimate. Going to peel off finally, but everybody just hanging out, and Rapio finds number 4.
Vulcan ult comes through, not going to be able to lock anybody down, but Predators going to get eradicated by Gnome, and now Watson looking very low, able to Thunder Crash away, and Turtles and Fly are nowhere near.
Basic attacks out of the Vulcan, just try to find that last hit onto the Robin, onto the Raijin. Oh, this is just really rough for eXcellence. They can't find anything here. If I'm eXcellence, number one, Jing just stay in lane and farm. That is absolutely our best bet. And you can see that's exactly what she's doing. It's working out. She's about even with the Anhur, give or take a couple of gold. Everything's working out in that dual lane. eXcellence needs to make sure that dual lane stays the same. Jing is the light, the darkness for eXcellence.
I mean, and Rapio's made it a point to go ahead and keep rotating back over there to see if he can take out Farleez. Since Farleez has been more in the fight instead, he's able to turn his aggression to other places like the solo multiple times.
Wards, more wards. If wards plays, look at the wards placed for eXcellence. They're actually a relatively similar amount, but they're just not on the board anymore. So you see a counter ward coming out from Team Rival on top of the Gold Fury, which is really not that extravagant. But you see one right next to the mid lane. Those are eXcellences. Those are responses to Team Rival taking out the vision. And that's why Rival has been able to do what they were doing. They're able to just strip the vision out of the jungle that eXcellence has placed. And because of that, it looks like eXcellence hasn't placed many wards at all. But it's really Rival being aggressive. Rapio doesn't gank a lane unless he knows that he'll have the element of surprise.
Gnome trying to gank this buff is going to be able not able to steal it away. Maloaise is going to be able to take it. But at this point, I don't think that matters because Rival is taking the Gold Fury.
Another one. 6,400 in the lead.
9,000 experience, 13 minutes and 30 seconds in, 8 kill difference. Rival have shown us not only a very quick aggression game, but also just this very methodical, strategic game for game 2.
Now, I said the dual lane was working out perfectly as Gnome dives mid lane. Level 17, Sun Wukong at 13 minutes, Tiger. What do you do?
What do you do?
What do you do?
I'm not really sure. I'm going to ask you, but good stun coming out from Terra. 2 men, Rapio and Anhur going to be able to have to back off, but that's a tier 1 tower that has fallen in favor of Team Rival, and Fly just has to kind of sit and watch from the backline. He's a little bit too squishy right now, level 13, especially against everybody of Rival.
Yeah.
I just looked at the levels.
Yep. 17 to 13 in the solo lane is probably the biggest deal you're going to see. And then the jungle, the second solo and jungle have the largest leads. You got 15 to 12 and 17 to 13 right here. That's where Team Rival have really been able to make this happen. It's all been Rapio and Gnome. Rapio got a couple of the, we saw that 2-for-1 play over there starting in the solo lane to start things off. And since then, Rapio and Gnome have just been able to absolutely control this game.
Gnome doesn't have any mana. Predator's trying to be cheeky, just stop his back at this point, but I don't think Predators really has enough in his kit to take out Gnome, especially with everything being juked right now, plus all the level difference between the two of them. But Rapio is going to be here, maybe in an attempt to go ahead and try and help out or gank.
Rapio is going to clear out, and we'll see a force from Team Rival. If they want to push up this lane, they can, but basically Rapio is going to come here because he wants Sun Wukong to be able to go ahead and back to base. No mana, wants to be able to buy, etc.
Who is setting the pace of this game? Obviously it's Rival, but who on there is setting it? Because both the solo and the jungle are rotating so well.
Honestly, I got to give it to Gnome. Rapio really started it off and was able to get a couple of kills very early on. You can see 10 kills on the board, 7 have involved the jungler, and those were very early on. But very quickly, you saw Gnome turn about level 16, level 17, and since then has just been all over the map. Another kill going the way of Team Rival there, 11 to 1, and it's all Gnome. It's Gnome and Rapio. They are driving this boat all the way home.
Well, that was a revenge kill because eXcellence were trying to get a little bit of damage onto the mid tower, which is why we saw the teleport coming out from Gnome to go back to mid. So he wasn't there to help out with that kill, but no. That was all Gnome at that point, saving that tower, and Fly may end up falling because of it.
Even the decoy's doing decent damage. You see that the Sun Wukong decoy able to really smack down the Vulcan? Sun Wukong decoy gets about a third of the power that Sun Wukong actually has.
That's a sustain. That's everything for eXcellence, and that's going to be gone. Watson getting credit for the kill. Used 2 ultimates for it, but at this point, it's worth. It's all worth, every little bit. and that's going to be the tower, or at least very close to. Rapio tried to find Maloaise in the back line. He definitely has the damage to do it, and Rapio going to get credit for the kill. Predators here in the back line. Here comes the big baby, but he's level 14. Everybody's 2 levels above.
Even Watson is just higher than the solo lane. That's not a good look. And right now, Team Rival up by 10,000 gold this early on. Another death for Predators. That'll be his 6th of the game. 0, 6, and 1 for the poor support or solo lane. And that is to be expected. I think at this point in the game, it's really kind of uncomebackable from. All right, that one was a stretch, but just you're looking at an 11,000 gold deficit at 16 minutes. What are you going to do?
Well, that is going to be a clean sweep coming out from Rival. 2-0 onto eXcellence. 7 points has them tied up for Cyclone, but we have many more matches to come. So we're going to bring you round 3 here in just a bit. Retribution versus eXcellence. Stay tuned.